You're listening to the late shift, and if you're still up with me, well, that makes two of us. It's past midnight here, cold enough that the windows are fogging on the inside. Not that there's much to see, just black sky and a few stubborn stars that haven't blinked out under the city haze. The kind of night that feels like it's holding its breath. I've got coffee that's been microwaved twice and still tastes like cardboard. The console's humming along, everything blinking the way it should. Feels like any other night. Or it did, until about an hour ago. Some of you might have heard the calls from people saying they saw something strange in the sky. The first guy called from somewhere in Maine. His voice was really shaky, and he said there was a hole up there. It was just hanging there. It wasn't a cloud, a plane, or even really a shape. Just an absence. He said it swallowed the stars behind it. I chalked it up to insomnia and strong whiskey. I mean, people see weird things all the time, especially when they want to. But then someone from Georgia said the same thing. Then a woman in Kansas. Always the same description. Round, perfectly still, pitch black. It's like my eyes slide off it, one of them said. So now, I'm looking out the window, trying not to let my own imagination get the better of me. There's a lot of static on the emergency bands tonight. And I don't mean your usual late night chatter. It's deeper, like something's humming under the noise. NASA hasn't said anything yet, not officially at least. Not that they would tell us much even if they knew. But the feeds are all crawling now. Amateur astronomers are sharing pictures, but most of them look like smudges on glass. One looked real. It had crisp edges and no stars where the object sat. It looked like someone took a bite out of the night. If you're just tuning in, I'm not saying there's a black hole above us. That'd be crazy. That's movie talk. We're not in a sci-fi script here. I'm just telling you what folks are calling in with. Telling you what I'm seeing from this booth and what I'm feeling in my gut. It's quiet tonight. Too quiet. The street out front, normally you get the odd drunk stumbling past or someone shouting into their phone. But it's dead now. No footsteps, no cars. Even the dogs have stopped barking. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe everyone's just asleep like they should be. But if you're awake, if you're still out there, I'd like to know what you're seeing. If you've got eyes on the sky, call in. I'll keep the lines open. I'm not here to scare anyone. Hell, I'm probably scaring myself more than anything. But it feels like we're right before something. Like the second before a thunderclap when the whole world goes still. You know that feeling? Something's changed. I don't know what, but I can feel it pressing down on the glass. Anyway, I'll keep talking. That's what I do. And if you're listening, if you're out there tonight, don't go looking for it. Just tell me what you see. Maybe we can make sense of this together. Maybe it's nothing. Or maybe it's the kind of night that we'll remember for a long, long time. I'll be right here. All right, it's been about 20 minutes since I last spoke, and the phone lines haven't stopped ringing. It's not the usual late night crowd either. There are no truckers with song requests or bored insomniacs looking to chat. It's different. Everyone's voice sounds tight. They sound like they're trying not to panic. And the thing is, I get it. Something's happening. I don't know what, not exactly, but I've been sitting in this booth for years, and I've never heard the radio behave like this. There's a signal under everything now. Not just static, but something else. It's low, like a hum below the hum. I tried tuning out, switching bands, even shutting off the board for a second and rebooting. It's still there. Like the whole spectrum is being swallowed by some kind of noise we weren't supposed to hear. I've been receiving messages from a few ham radio enthusiasts. Old-timers who still think in terms of waveforms and soldering. They're picking it up too. Whatever it is, it's global. There's no origin point. It's just everywhere, at once. One of them, a guy named Ron from Michigan, said something that stuck with me. He said, "It's like the silence between stars has come closer." I asked him to repeat it, and he just laughed. Said he didn't know why he said it. There's this other call I want to tell you about. A young woman, sounded maybe early 20s, real clear voice despite the crackle. She said she works nights at a telescope facility, didn't say where. She told me the instruments are useless now, not just misaligned, broken. Some lenses shattered without impact, others warped like they've been pressed against the sun. She used the word gravitational smear. I don't even know what that means. The part that chilled me was when she said they can't see the stars anymore. Not just where the object is, but everywhere. It's as if the sky itself has started to turn opaque. I went outside for a second after that call. I needed to see for myself. Now, it's cloudy tonight, nothing strange about that. But the clouds, they weren't moving, not a ripple. And you know how, even in darkness, there's always some gradient? Light pollution from the city, or moonlight giving the clouds some shape. Not tonight. Tonight, it looked like someone hung a black sheet over the world. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I mean, I'm a guy with a microphone, not a physicist. But something's off with gravity. I dropped a pin earlier and it didn't fall right. It wobbled. Took just a little too long to hit the floor. I know how that sounds. But if you're sitting somewhere right now, maybe in your car on the side of a road, maybe curled up in bed with your phone screen casting light across the room, just check things. Drop something small. Watch the shadows. See if they move the way you remember. I don't think this is just up in space. I think it's touching us already. I don't want to cause a panic. That's not what this show is for. But if something's wrong, I'd rather we face it with our eyes open. I'll keep the line open for as long as I can. And I'll keep talking because sometimes just hearing a voice helps. If you're out there, tell me what you see. Tell me what you hear. Because something is whispering behind the static. I just got off the phone with someone who works at a private weather station outside Flagstaff. He wouldn't give his name and kept his voice low as if he thought someone might be listening. He told me that he has been watching the object. He said it's not drifting like debris and it's not spinning or tumbling. It's just perfectly still. Here's the thing. It's not reflecting anything. No light bounces off it and it doesn't shine. Not even a moonlight reflects off it. He said, it's not that it's dark. It's that it's absent. Like someone cut a hole in the world. More people are seeing it now. From rooftops, from highways, from frozen backyards. Some of the photos are starting to come through clearer. Whatever it is, it's massive. A sphere, maybe the size of a small mountain, hovering just above the outer edge of our atmosphere. But it's not orbiting. That's the part that keeps bothering me. It's not orbiting. It's watching. I know how that sounds. I know. But every instinct in me, every time I look at the latest satellite shots or listen to another terrified voice on the phone, I feel this tightening in my chest. Like I'm being studied. People are saying it's a black hole. That's the theory making rounds now. A stable one, somehow parked above us like a mirror turned inward. The math doesn't make sense. It shouldn't even be possible for something like that to exist so close without tearing us apart. But here we are. And here's what's worse. The news isn't talking. Mainstream coverage? Silent. Not a whisper. I don't know if it's fear or censorship, or just that no one knows what to say. But the networks are running their usual garbage. Reality shows, political bickering reruns. Like the world hasn't changed. Like we didn't just look up and see the universe blinking back with one dead eye. I just received a call from trucker on I-90 in South Dakota. He pulled over after spotting what looked like a bruise on the sky in his mirrors. He told me that he's been on the road for 30 years and has never pulled his rig off the shoulder for anything less than a tornado. But this thing made his bones go cold. He was crying. I didn't know what to say. People are scared, and they should be. Not because there's chaos in the streets. There isn't. Not yet, at least. It's the quiet that's doing it. The stillness. It's as if something sacred just cracked, and the pieces are still falling through space. I've always loved the night sky. Grew up sneaking out with my dad's telescope, tracking stars and satellites, dreaming about other planets. I used to think the universe was vast and beautiful. Something to explore. Now I'm not so sure. Now it feels like maybe we were never supposed to look too long. Maybe it was always staring back. The reports keep coming. Birds falling from the sky, confused and directionless. Migratory patterns collapsing. Wildlife acting like storms are coming, except the pressure's rising, not dropping. And I don't know if this is connected, but the moon looks wrong. Just a little. Slightly tilted. Slightly faded. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm starting to see things that aren't there. Still, if you're listening, wherever you are, don't panic. Keep calm. If you got loved ones, stay close. Talk to them. Turn off the news. They're not going to help you. Not tonight. Look, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a prophet. I'm just a voice on the radio trying to keep people tethered to something real. But I can tell you this, the sky has changed, and I don't think it's finished changing. I haven't moved from this booth, not even a stretch. I keep thinking if I just stay here, grounded in this tiny space with its hums and lights and meters, I can hold off whatever's happening out there. As if the booth's thin walls could keep it from reaching me. I received another call. It was a man from somewhere in Montana. His voice shook as if he'd just come in from the cold. He said he felt like something was tugging at him. Not like a breeze or fall. Not external. He said it felt like his organs were being gently pulled upward, as if something inside him wanted to leave. He asked, "Is this what astronauts feel when they leave Earth?" But I don't think it is. More reports are coming in. It's not just dizziness now. People are saying they feel stretched out like they're taller for a second. Others say the floor gives way under their feet, even when it doesn't. I'd chalk it up to mass hysteria if I hadn't experienced it myself. It happened about 15 minutes ago. I leaned back in my chair, and for a second, I swear my whole body felt loose. Not light, but unanchored, like my bones weren't sure where they belonged. I grabbed the desk and held on, but the feeling passed before I could really process it. And now I can't stop thinking about what gravity really is. Not the textbook version, not the numbers and formulas, but the way it holds us, cradles us, really pulls us toward the center of something. But if there's something else pulling, something bigger, something closer, what happens then? I'm no physicist, but I've been reading what little scraps I can find. Some people are saying this thing isn't a full black hole. Not exactly. It might be a primordial one. Tiny, stable, something from the earliest fraction of time, hiding in the dark until now. But even tiny things can pull, right? Especially if they're close. Someone sent in an old science journal article. It mentioned the term spaghettification, a horrifying word. Basically, if you got too close to a black hole, the gravity would be so strong, so uneven, that your body would stretch atom by atom until you were a string of yourself. A filament. I keep wondering if that's what we're starting to feel. Not the tearing, not yet. Just the early whisper of it. Like pressure changes before a storm, but for the soul. Someone else called in just now. A mother with 2 kids in a farmhouse somewhere in Nebraska. She said her youngest asked why the trees were leaning. I asked what she meant. She said the trees outside, all of them, are tilted ever so slightly toward the sky. Like they're reaching. I wanted to tell her it was nothing. That she's tired, stressed. But I couldn't say it. Not honestly. Because she didn't sound frantic. She sounded calm. Too calm. Like she was trying not to scare her children. I don't know what we're supposed to do. Stay inside? Go underground? I don't even know if it matters. If this thing's big enough, strong enough, hiding might not mean anything. I've lived my whole life thinking of gravity as a comfort. The thing that lets us walk, sit, stay rooted. But now it feels like a thread, and something's pulling on the other end. If you're feeling it too, lightheadedness, strange pressure, flickers in the corner of your eyes. You're not alone. I want you to know that. You're not imagining it. Something is happening above us. And now, I think it's starting to reach down. It's been a strange hour. Not stranger than the rest of the night, but quieter. Like the whole world is holding its breath. I've been sitting here scrolling through leaked reports, grainy videos, and half-deleted files. Most of it is nonsense. Fear spiraling into rumors. But one document, it was different. It looked like a raw dump from a government satellite feed. There were no logos or context, just timestamps and sensor readings. The name in the header? Object AI. I don't think whoever labeled it that was being poetic. I think it was descriptive. There's a new image now. Sharper. A thermal composite, probably. Shows the object hanging there above us, just outside the edge of breathable air. There's no heat. None. Not even cold. It's not radiating anything. Just sitting. A silence you can measure. It's round, perfectly so, and it doesn't flicker like stars. Doesn't shift like satellites. It just exists. Stable. Constant. Watching. I used to laugh at callers who brought up end times prophecies. You know, the preachers with basement transmitters who warn of blood moons and trumpets. But I'm not laughing now, because people are praying again. A lot of them. I've had at least a dozen calls from folks who haven't been to church in 20 years, suddenly on their knees in candlelight. Not begging, exactly, just trying to feel small enough to be forgiven. And I get it. When you look up and see the thing just hanging there, like a pupil against the skin of the sky, you start wondering if maybe it's looking back. I don't think it's a weapon. I don't think it's an accident. I don't even know if it's a natural phenomenon, but I do think we're being watched, or measured, or maybe weighed. People are calling it the eye now. Just the eye, not the object, not the anomaly. Just that, like it's always been here. Somewhere deep down, I think we know we're being studied, and maybe judged. I know that sounds like I'm losing it, but when you see enough evidence, hear enough voices that all say the same thing without knowing each other, without coordination, you stop thinking in terms of coincidence. I used to think science and faith were opposites. That belief meant closing your eyes, and science meant opening them. But tonight, they feel closer than they've ever been. Maybe we're meant to witness this. Maybe we were always going to. I don't have answers. I don't have comfort. But I have this voice, and I have you. If you're listening, if you're out there, don't look away. Not yet, even if it hurts, even if it scares you. Sometimes the only thing left to do is face the thing that's watching you. And pray, if that's what helps. Just don't pretend it's not real. It's real. The eye is here. I just lost the feed from the ISS. No warning. 1 minute, the data was coming through those little telemetry updates that I've had piped into the background for years. By now, just a habit like breathing. And then it stopped. No drop-off, no warning beeps. Just silence. Like someone yanked the wire out of the sky. I've been trying to reach anyone with a direct line to Houston. Nobody's answering. Not surprising, I guess. They've probably got their hands full, or maybe they're being told not to talk. But it doesn't sit right. We don't just lose the station. Not unless something swallows it. There's a clip circulating now, supposedly a final log recorded by one of the astronauts. I can't verify it, and I won't play the audio here, not because I think it's fake, but because of how it ends. She sounds calm at first, controlled. She's describing what she sees out the viewport. Says the Earth still looks the same. Mostly. Clouds, lights, ocean. But then she says the stars are wrong. Not missing, just wrong. Shifted. She says, we checked the instruments 3 times. It's not us that moved. Then there's a long pause. And then she says something I can't get out of my head. It's not orbiting us. We're orbiting it now. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know if anyone can. I've been staring at the signal board for 15 minutes now. The lights are dimmer. Could be power fluctuations. Could be me, not seeing clearly anymore. But I think something is changing up there. Down here too. There are stretches of dead air now between calls, which used to never happen this time of night. I think people are going quiet. Not asleep, quiet. Waiting. I stepped outside during the break, just for a breath, to clear my head. It's cold. The kind of cold that sinks into your teeth. But it's more than that. There's no movement in the air. No bugs. No traffic. Even the neon signs across the street aren't flickering anymore. The world feels like a photograph someone stopped updating. I stood there, staring up. Couldn't see the eye from where I am. The clouds have thickened. But I could feel it. Not like a presence. More like an absence that's become aware of itself. It's strange. We spend our lives talking about space and the stars and what's out there. Yet, all it took was one black sphere appearing and hovering in silence to make it all feel terrifying. There's nothing natural about how quiet it is now. There's something I haven't admitted yet, even to myself. Earlier tonight, before the static really took over, I thought I heard something in the hum. Just a flicker buried deep. Not words, not music, just a pattern, like breathing. I thought I was imagining it. Still might be. But what if it's not? What if something is listening back? I can't stop thinking about that astronaut's voice. The way she said it was calm and flat, as if it were just another line in the logbook. We're orbiting it now, as if we've already been claimed. I don't know what comes next. I don't know if there's a next. But I'll be here. I'll keep broadcasting, as long as I can. And if the silence takes this station too, well, you'll know I was here, talking, reaching, listening. I don't know what time it is anymore. The clocks say one thing, but my body says another. I keep checking my watch, but it's like it's lying to me. Minutes stretch, collapse, slip past without warning. I'll be mid-sentence and suddenly realize 5 minutes are gone, or maybe 5 seconds. I can't tell. There's a caller from Oregon who said she walked to her kitchen for a glass of water and came back to find her soup cold and her phone battery drained. She swears she was only gone for a moment. Another guy, some night security guard outside Phoenix, says the opposite. He watched the sun rise for what felt like hours, even though it was still midnight. Something's wrong with time. That's the only way I can explain it. I keep trying to trace when it started, but my memory's playing tricks too. Segments of this night are blurring. Words I said earlier feel like someone else said them, or like they happened weeks ago. There's a theory going around in the back channels. Physicists talking in hushed tones, university boards being quietly archived. They think the eye might be distorting space-time itself. Not just the sky, not just gravity, time, and not in a cinematic way. No DeLoreans, no wormholes, just the subtle, terrifying breakdown of everything we use to measure our lives. I dropped my coffee mug earlier, watched it fall in slow motion. Or maybe my brain just lagged behind. It hit the floor and shattered like glass does, but I swear I watched each fragment scatter like I had all the time in the world to catch them. It's like we're caught in some kind of tidal pull, not just physically, but temporally. One caller, an old man from a retirement home in Ohio, told me he was hearing old jazz records that hadn't played in years. He doesn't own a turntable, swore the music was coming from the walls. He said, "I think time is folding, son, like a map creasing over itself." And I believed him. The booth's lights have started to flicker. It's not due to power issues. It's as if the voltage itself is confused. One of the clocks just jumped forward 6 minutes and then back again. I no longer trust any of the readouts. I'm trying to stay focused. Keep my mind here with you. Talking helps. It gives me something to hold on to, even if the words sometimes feel like they're echoing from the wrong side of the tunnel. Every night, show has a rhythm. Intro, news brief, caller, ad spot. It was a steady beat. But tonight, that rhythm is gone. It's been replaced with something warped. I think it's affecting my thoughts. Like I'm walking through fog inside my own head. I start a sentence, and halfway through I forget what I meant. And then there are the repeats. I hate to say it, but I think I've repeated myself twice now. Large parts of the broadcast are repeated, like a skipping record. I don't mean that I'm repeating myself. I mean, I heard myself earlier say the same thing I'm saying now. Not déjà vu echo. If the eye is manipulating the flow of time, then we're in uncharted territory. Physics unravels. Cause and effect would collapse. Perhaps we're hearing the past bleed into the present. Perhaps we're broadcasting into yesterday. I don't know. But if you're feeling it too, if your clocks are wrong, if your day feels broken in half, you're not alone. Stay grounded. Talk out loud. Write things down. Hold on to the present, even if it slips. We're still here. For now. I've been watching the rain, or whatever you want to call it. It's not falling right. I stepped outside the station during a lull between calls, just needing air, something real. The rain was coming down sideways. Not in a windy kind of way. It wasn't being pushed. It was arcing, like gravity had a new direction. I stood under the awning, watching droplets trace impossible paths through the air. They bent, curled, stopped mid-fall like they were unsure where the ground even was. One of them hovered inches from my hand before darting sideways into the wall like a startled insect. Something's wrong with gravity. People keep saying it feels like pressure one moment, then lightness the next. A kid in Iowa said his backpack floated for a second before dropping hard enough to crack the tile. A man in Florida said his ceiling fan spun backward without power. A woman in New Mexico called in to say her husband went out to the barn and never came back. She ran outside and found the barn doors open. No sign of him, just a ladder lying on the ground and a thin trail of dust going up. She sounded hollow, like someone trying not to break in front of their children. Whatever the eye is doing, it's distorting the pull of Earth in ways we weren't built to understand. Things are falling wrong, rising wrong, moving wrong. I've had pins drift across the desk like they were caught in a slow tide. The door creaks on its hinges like it's breathing. I don't even trust the floor under me anymore. One guy from Vermont said he watched a whole tree lift out of the ground. Roots and all, just lifted, turned slow like a leaf in water, and vanished into the clouds. He said it didn't make a sound. The quiet's been the worst part. I keep expecting alarms, sirens, emergency broadcasts, but it's all still. Like the world is waiting for instructions from something that hasn't spoken yet. I got a message from someone in a physics lab, I won't say where. She said they're seeing variations in the gravitational constant itself. Like the fundamental laws of mass and attraction are fluctuating, bending. She said, it's not just Earth reacting, it's space itself. Like the eye is heavier than reality knows how to handle. I asked her if we're in danger. She didn't answer, but I think we both knew the answer already. What happens when gravity doesn't know which way to pull? We built everything assuming the ground would stay where it is. But now floors tilt slightly when no one's moving. Dishes slide off counters. Birds can't land. Someone called to say their street tilted just a few degrees, barely enough to notice, but enough that every parked car started rolling. Slow at first, then picking up speed. They said it looked like the neighborhood was sliding toward the horizon. I don't think this is a storm we can wait out. I think this is a shift, a permanent one. And I think the eye, whatever it is, it's not just a hole in the sky. It's a hole in the rules. So hold on to something, if you can. Tie things down. Keep your footing, because gravity doesn't belong to us anymore. I've been thinking a lot about atoms tonight. It's funny how something so small, something we never see, suddenly feels like the only thing holding us together. Or rather, not holding us together. It started when I dropped a flashlight earlier. I bent to pick it up, and my fingers just passed through it. Not literally, but close. Like my hand didn't line up with the world anymore. Like my skin and the plastic weren't agreeing on where here was. I don't know how else to describe it. I can't stop wondering. What if the eye isn't just bending gravity or time? What if it's reaching deeper into the fabric of the universe? Into the fabric? Into the building blocks? We think of matter as solid. Chairs, walls, bones. But they're not. They're mostly empty space. Just clouds of probabilities held together by forces we barely understand. And what if those forces pause? Or flicker? What if the glue starts to come undone? I remember my high school physics teacher, Mr. Bennett. He was a real stern guy with a cough that wouldn't quit. He once said, if you could remove all the empty space from the atoms in your body, you'd be the size of a grain of salt. I didn't believe him then. Thought it was a metaphor. But now it's all I can think about. What happens if the eye makes us forget how to stay solid? People are reporting strange symptoms. Skin feeling too tight or too loose. Pressure in the skull, like the brain's swelling against the bone. A nurse from a small clinic in Minnesota told me they had a patient who stopped casting a shadow for 5 minutes. Just didn't have one. She said she looked directly at the overhead lights. Checked everything. No shadow. Then suddenly it came back. No explanation. A truck driver out of Arizona said his reflection didn't match his movement in the mirror for a few seconds. He waved, and the reflection hesitated before mimicking. Something is happening to the relationship between matter and time, between us and the space we take up. And if that goes, what's left? We talk about souls like they're separate, like there's something inside us that lives beyond the body. But maybe it's the body that's been lying to us. Maybe we're already part ghost. Old memories keep drifting into my mind tonight. It's not because I'm nostalgic. It's because they won't stay where I left them. They keep rising up like smoke through cracks. My mother's voice calling me in for dinner, the clink of her rings on the sink, my brother laughing in the back seat of our dad's old truck. These aren't just memories. They feel present, like they're happening alongside this moment. Maybe the eye isn't erasing us. Maybe it's opening us, letting time fold in on itself until past and present are the same breath. I don't know, but if that's true, if we're all just random arrangements of atoms, then maybe this was always destined to fall apart. Maybe the eye isn't the destroyer. Maybe it's a reminder that nothing we build lasts forever. Not buildings, not bodies, not even time. If you're listening and you still feel real, hold on to that. Look in the mirror. See if you're still there. Press your hand against a wall and make sure you leave a mark. Because I don't know how much longer we'll keep leaving them. I think I'm drifting. It's not a physical change. I'm still here in a chair in the booth, surrounded by these walls, cables, and the soft glow of the meters. But something in me is loosening its grip. It's coming unmoored. I just realized I haven't blinked in what must be 10 minutes. Or maybe I've been blinking too much. Either way, my eyes feel like they're not syncing with the rest of me. Time isn't behaving. Neither is thought. Whole sentences slide out of my mouth before I know I've spoken them. I listen to my own voice and feel like I'm hearing it a few seconds too late. I used to think of consciousness as a steady, linear stream flowing forward. Now, however, it's more like fog. It's heavy in some places and thin in others, and it vanishes without warning. Earlier, I looked at the clock. It said 3:19 a.m. I looked away. Maybe 3 breaths passed. Looked back. 3:03. Then just now, I slowly and carefully got up to fetch a binder from the shelf. I swear it took me 10 seconds. By the time I sat back down, the board had recorded a 12-minute gap of dead air. And I don't remember what happened in between. Maybe I dozed off. Maybe I blacked out. Maybe time stuttered again. I don't know. Outside, the air is still wrong. There's a kind of weightlessness to it. It's as if the world is untethered. Earlier, I watched a bird, just one, which is strange in itself, flap its wings twice, rise, and then freeze in midair. Midair. It hung there, wings out for maybe 5 seconds. Then it shot off sideways, like it had been released by an invisible hand. I don't think we're dealing with physics anymore. I think we're drifting through something else. Something beyond rules, beyond shape. There's a dull ache in my chest now. It's not pain, just an absence. It's as if something has been taken out of me without leaving a wound. I've tried to call friends, family. Phones ring, then fall silent. No voicemail, no static. Just nothing. I keep thinking of how astronauts describe spacewalking. That first moment outside the capsule, when Earth is below and there's nothing but black in every direction. They say it's beautiful, but also horrifying. A kind of cosmic vertigo. That's what this feels like. Not fear exactly, but an unraveling. Like I'm floating between thoughts, between selves. The calls are thinning out. It's not because people aren't scared. Maybe it's because they don't remember how to use a phone, or what a phone is. I had one listener earlier, maybe in their 20s, whisper into the line, "I don't remember how old I am." Then the line dropped. What happens when we lose sequence? When before and after blur? Who are we without time? I don't know what day it is anymore. I barely know who I was this morning, but I'm still here. My voice is still broadcasting. And if you're still there, if you're hearing this, anchor yourself. Name 5 things in the room. Say your name. Clap your hands and feel the echo. Whatever the eye is, whatever it's doing, it hasn't taken everything yet. Not if we remember we were here, even just for a moment. They're saying the eye has stopped moving, if it was ever moving at all. Some of the scientific folks, what's left of them, anyway, are calling it a gravitational null point, which I guess means that it's found a place to settle. Not orbiting, not drifting, just fixed, like it chose its spot. They say it's not growing, not shrinking, just hanging there, quiet and still. But that's not comforting, not really, because things are still falling into it. Not all at once, not cities or oceans, not yet, just small things, lighter things, objects, animals, sounds, thoughts. There's this sense now, shared by everyone I've talked to, that space isn't shaped the way it used to be. Not spatially, not emotionally. Like we've lost the center, not just of gravity, but of meaning. I spoke to someone an hour ago, a linguist of all things, who said words are starting to lose their weight. She told me she couldn't remember the name of her husband's face. That's how she said it, the name of his face. I didn't ask her to explain, because I understood. I looked in the mirror a little while ago, just to check, see if I still resemble myself. And I did mostly, but there was this moment where my reflection didn't feel like a reflection. It felt like a separate person, waiting for me to do something. And then it blinked before I did. Only once. Maybe the eye isn't just bending light and space and time. Maybe it's pressing on the mind too. On memory. On perception. A caller from the North Coast told me she walked out into her field and found her footprints leading both directions. Forward and backward. Perfectly symmetrical. She followed one set, expecting to loop back to her porch. She didn't. She ended up near the highway, miles from home. And she said the whole time, she felt like someone was following just behind her, breathing. But when she turned around, there was no one. I think reality is thinning. You know how, sometimes, when you're very tired, you feel like the world tilts? Like you're slipping between waking and dream? That's what this is. Except it's waking all the way down. There's no center anymore, no anchor, and still the eye watches. It doesn't flicker, doesn't fade. You'd think something that dark would disappear into the sky, but it doesn't. It's as if the darkness of it is different than night. A darker dark. People say they can see it with their eyes closed. Not as a shape, not a silhouette, just a pressure, a presence behind the eyelids, like something sitting in the back of your mind. You can't unsee it. You can't stop knowing it's there. And yet, no panic. Not really. It's as if we've silently agreed that nothing we do will change it. Trying to run from the sky is pointless. If it wanted to consume us, it would have by now. So we drift, talk, wait. And I keep speaking into this mic, hoping someone's still listening, that my voice at least has a little gravity left in it. Because I don't know how much longer we'll remember where the center was, or if we ever really had one. I've been marking down the places people say still feel normal, or at least less wrong. It's a pocket in northern Idaho where the trees don't lean and the rain still falls straight. A strip of coast near Nova Scotia where the stars remain visible and don't change position when you blink. There's a diner in Kansas, just a roadside place where clocks keep perfect time and the pies haven't spoiled even though the power's been out for days. I've been calling it a map. Not on paper, no time for that. Just in my head. A constellation of holdouts. I know it's not scientific. I know it's probably just coincidence. But if there are zones where the rules still apply, then people need to know. Need to move. I think the Earth is fraying. Not all at once. Not in a single catastrophic rip. But in threads. Threads snapping, vanishing into that thing overhead. These places, these still points, might be where the fabric is holding. I've started giving directions. The best I can. Not road names anymore, those change. Now I use landmarks, turns, smells, and sounds. There's a woman traveling with her brother, somewhere outside what used to be Denver. She called in, voice thin with static, asking where to go. I told her about a barn outside Shallow Creek, Missouri, where 3 different callers said they felt no pull, no distortion, no presence. She said thank you. Then she said, I don't care if it's not safe. I just want to be somewhere that feels like a memory. That stuck with me. I think that's what people want now. Not safety, not even survival, not really. Just a moment that makes sense. A patch of ground where things fall when you drop them. Where time moves in one direction. I've been calling out locations all night. Piecing together this ghost map from voices that still bother to call. It feels almost holy in a way. I keep picturing the earth like a lantern, light leaking through in tiny pinpricks where the eye hasn't touched. These soft, glowing islands of meaning, adrift in a sea of unraveling. If you're listening and you're still in one of those places, call me. Describe it. Tell me the smell in the air, the weight of your footsteps, the way your breath fogs the glass. Give me coordinates of reality, because the more of those we have, the more we can hold on to. If you're trying to get there and the roads have buckled or disappeared, or if time loops around you like a skipping record, just keep moving toward anything that feels steady. A stone wall that hasn't shifted. A voice that doesn't echo wrong. Or maybe just north. For now, north still seems to mean something. I don't know how long the map will hold. It could all go tomorrow. Or maybe it already has. And I'm just behind. But tonight I believe in these places. Not because they're safe, but because they still remind us of what the world used to be. And maybe if we gather in enough of them, if we draw our own constellations across what's left, we can light a shape the eye can't erase. I'll keep broadcasting, as long as I can, and I'll keep building the map, one voice at a time. I didn't think it would hit the coast first. I thought the pull would start at the edges of the atmosphere, creep downward in silence. But I was wrong. The water went sideways. That's what the first caller said. He said the ocean didn't rise, it leaned. It was as if the entire horizon had tilted 15 degrees without warning. She was on the west coast, somewhere near Monterey. Her voice was hollow. I asked if she was safe. She said yes, but quiet, like she wasn't sure. Then she said something I can't stop hearing. I saw my son's shadow stretch into the sea. She didn't mean he walked into it. She meant his shadow did, like the light was bending in all the wrong directions. And then she hung up. I haven't heard from her since. It's been hours, maybe more. I can't trust the clocks, but the calls keep coming. The tides have gone wild. Whole neighborhoods are being swallowed, not by waves, but by the draw. That's the word someone used. Draw. like the sea is being drawn into something not quite visible, not quite here. I don't think it's gravity anymore. Not as we've known it. This isn't just the Earth being pulled. It's like the shape of reality is tilting, the edges of our existence bleeding toward a center that isn't in our world. And the worst part? My sister was near the coast. She lived in a small apartment on the third floor, a couple blocks from the water. Used to send me pictures of the sunsets. You know, those bright, syrup-colored skies that make you believe in softness again. I haven't been able to reach her since last night. I keep calling. Voicemail picks up, but there's no sound. Just a soft crackle. Like waves, but not real ones. Memory waves. I think she's gone. I can't say that out loud without feeling like I'm floating out of my chair. I thought I could stay composed here. Behind the mic, thought the voice, the booth, the routine would protect me. But nothing protects us from this. You know that phrase, pulling at threads? That's what this feels like. It's as if something enormous, ancient, and deliberate is pulling threads loose. Not out of cruelty, not with malice either. Just inevitability. We were stitched into something larger, and now the seams are coming undone. And the tide's not just water. It's people, memories, physics, being pulled, unwritten. I sat there for a while after the last call. I didn't say anything. I just watched the meters flicker and listened to the silence. I thought, if this is the end, if we're truly being unmade, then I want my last words to be real. So here it is. I loved her, my sister. She was stubborn and loud and laughed at her own jokes. She had this way of looking at the world like it hadn't failed yet, like it still might surprise her. Wherever she is, in the eye, past it, or nowhere at all, I hope she's still looking. Because I am. Even if all that's left is tide and silence. I'm still looking. The lights are flickering now. Not like before. This isn't a power surge. It's more like the light itself doesn't know what it's supposed to be. Bright one second, dim the next, like it's remembering how to shine, but not quite pulling it off. I think this will be my last time on air. Not because I'm stopping, but because the station's starting to come apart. Not physically, not yet, but in purpose, in coherence. The dials don't track anything anymore. The meters just twitch at random. I've been talking for minutes, and the red on-air light hasn't lit once. But I'm going to continue speaking because maybe, somewhere out there, you can still hear me. And if you are, I need you to know something. You're not alone. Even now, even as the world shifts and folds and forgets itself, you are not alone. There are voices, scattered, shaking, but still here. I've heard them. People holding on in basements, in towers, in deserts, in barns. Whispering to one another, praying, laughing even. I heard a woman laugh tonight. Just once, soft and wild, like someone who couldn't believe she still could. And I want to believe that matters. I want to believe that the voices we leave behind those fragile, trembling notes cast into the darkness have meaning. That maybe somewhere past the eye, something is listening. I don't think it's here to kill us. I don't even think it cares about us in the way we understand. But I do think it's here for a reason. Maybe not one we'll ever grasp. Maybe not one we're built to grasp. And maybe that's okay. We built meaning out of chaos for as long as we could. We named stars. We wrote songs. We built radios. We reached out. And now, even as everything around us loses shape, I'm still doing that. Reaching. The static is louder now. It almost has a shape. I don't know how to explain that. It isn't just noise anymore. It's like a tide of sound washing in from somewhere far away. Like the ocean of whatever's next has finally reached our shores. I think the eye is speaking. Not in words. Not in anything so human. But in presence. In silence that has weight. And maybe the only answer we ever had to that silence was each other. So here I am. This booth is dim now. The windows are pitch black. I can't see the street. I don't know if there's a street anymore. But my hand's still on the mic. My breath's still fogging the glass. I'm still here. If you're out there, sitting in your car, curled up in your kitchen, or staring at a sky that no longer blinks, then listen. Just for a moment. Not to me. To everything. To the quiet between beats of your heart. To the creak of your home settling into its last shape. To the air, soft and strange, pressing against your skin like it's trying to remember your name. This isn't the end. Not really. It's a change. one we don't understand, one we didn't choose, but one we are unbelievably surviving, even if just for a while. So write it down if you can. Scratch it into wood, whisper it into tape, carve it into the ground. Tell someone, if there's someone to tell, that once on a night when the world came unstitched, you listened to a voice in the dark, and the voice said, "You were here, you mattered, you were loved." This is station WQXR, signing off. I'll keep the signal open for as long as it holds. If this is the last thing you hear, then let it be enough. Good night.